Yo, what's going on, YouTube family? It's your man Jeremy Doodoo here, and in this video, I want to show you guys how I taught myself HTML and CSS. Recently, there was a young guy who reached out to me who saw that on my LinkedIn, I've been a UX designer for 6 years now, and he also saw one of my videos and knew that I knew how to code, and he was curious about how I taught myself. So I was like, okay, this is an interesting topic to talk about because I'm sure that there are a lot of folks out there who are trying to transition into a career in tech for the fact that we can work remotely, or you're trying to look for a bigger paycheck, and you might be asking yourself, how do I teach myself how to code? Right? You see that there are options out there to go to a coding boot camp. You might be YouTubing stuff. And you might be curious about where the best place to start is. And if you're in that mindset, then hopefully this video is going to help you out to give you some direction on where you can start. Because if there was anything that I learned from going to a coding boot camp like General Assembly, which cost me $10,000, it's that nobody can really teach you how to code. It's almost like learning how to drive. You just got to get behind the wheel, and if you're learning how to park the car, you're gonna hit some parked cars at certain times. You might scratch up your paint a little bit, but that's all a part of the process, right? So I feel like if you want to teach yourself how to code, you just got to do it. So enough talk. Let's get into me teaching you how I taught myself HTML and CSS. When people talk about front-end development, it could be a lot of things, right? It could be learning about JavaScript, Angular, all that stuff. But specifically in this video, I want to focus on HTML and CSS. All right, so if you go to any of your favorite sites, you might see a common pattern, and that pattern is that there are blocks on the page. Any website that you go to, there are huge blocks all over the place, right? So I see I'm on Mashable here. I see the rocks image with this pretty girl here. If I scroll down the page, there's this section for tech and entertainment, another big block here, big block image. Scroll down a little bit more. This entire section is one huge block with 3 different sections, right? If I go to a site like The Hundreds, one of my favorite brands, once again, a huge hero image at the top here. I can scroll through, right? I see these sweaters here. They look pretty fly. And these are all blocks as well. If I scroll down a little bit more, some more blocks here. So you see the pattern, right? I'm sure you've seen this on your favorite website. But let's just say that we're curious to learn how they coded this stuff up, right? So one thing that you can do is that if you're using a Google Chrome browser on a MacBook, you can right click on the page, and there is this tool called Inspect. All right, so click on that, and now you see this panel at the bottom here. And I know for this video, you're probably going to see my thumbnail on the right, which is covering up the HTML section. I mean the CSS section, but on this left side here, there is the HTML, right, for this entire page. On the far right, for any site that you go to, you'll see a CSS section where you can basically manipulate anything that you want on the page that you're looking at, right? So if I just, let's say this red sweater is fly, man. If I wanted to see how they coded this section, I can click on this far left icon here. It's an arrow. So now that I clicked on it, I can hover over this, all the code, any section really. But okay, this is just one entire image. But I think that, oh, here we go. So this is an entire block, right? So if I click on that, now I can see that this entire block is a div. Right? And you don't need to know what this stuff is if you're just teaching yourself, right? Just how my mind would work is that I would read this stuff, I'd be like, okay, this is a div, this is a class, what the hell does that mean? A class, what is this? H5 class, what is this? And this is another class. And I would be questioning to myself what this stuff is, right? So H6, right? Let's just Google what that is. What is in H6? HTML, right? And then you get information that comes up. So it says HTML, H1 to H6. And W3 Schools is great to learn HTML and CSS. But now it says HTML to H6 tags. And it tells me what the definition is and all this other stuff. All right, and then it also gives me examples. So basically what I would do is I would be curious, and this is just how my mind works. I would be curious and I ask myself, what is this? And then once I Googled it, I would gather some context about what it is. And then what I would do is I would go to a site like Codepen, right? And this is a free site. I would suggest that you guys sign up. And I would create a pen. And when you create a pen, now you see these different sections for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And whatever you put in these sections will then show you what it looks like in the browser. So here, I'm just going to say, okay, I saw that that was an H6, and then I'll just put whatever, blah, right? And then I saw that on W3 Schools, I got to close out this tag. All right, do I have to close it? I think so, right? I got to close it out, H6, and it says blah right here, right? But I can make it in H1. Let's make it H1, and this is the H1. There we go. So now it gets bigger, and basically what I read in W3 Schools, I can execute here in Codepen. Right, and that was how I learned, right? So you could do the same thing if you want to. I was trying to teach myself all these different animations, right? And I see, I made Kobe fly off from the right, and you see all my code here. So I got the HTML, I got the CSS, right? And then I had some JavaScript that I was teaching myself. So yeah, guys. That was my process of teaching myself HTML and CSS. I basically went to some of my favorite sites, and I looked at other people's code. I would question, what the hell does this mean? I started Googling stuff, and then once I felt like I understood what that stuff meant, then I would go to Codepen and try to basically copy what I would see from my favorite sites. So I'll show you guys, oh shoot. Like I got a bunch of different pens here, right? These are all my pens from when I started out back in the day. And as you can see, with each pen I got better. And then when I worked at Fandango, I was working with some developers that I didn't like the way that they were coding. So I was like, you know what? At this point, I know enough. I could do this myself, and I coded it myself, right? Like, but that took some time. I think it took 1 or 2 years for me to get as good as I got with coding this up. So that was just my process. And, I think that it always helps that if you're trying to teach yourself how to do something, whether it's skateboarding, or art, whatever it is, it's always good to understand people's creative processes and then make it your own, right? So I hope that this video helps you out if you're teaching yourself HTML and CSS. I hope that it gives you a good starting point. If it did, you already know the deal. Comment, like, subscribe, and let me know that if this video helped you out or not. I hope that you're doing well. Peace and love. I'll see you guys in the next video.